got to fix him. I got to figure out what's wrong with him. I got to change him. And then we wouldn't have these problems. And I went to Hearts at Home for the sole purpose of going to a workshop on temperament. And Donna Parteau was giving this workshop. And it was about understanding temperament in your family. And now listen to me. I didn't have a real teachable spirit. I was going because I was going to diagnose Ricky's problem and then come home and fix him. Anybody, please? Is there any other moms? You know, that's your job. So just a few honest women in the class here. So I sat down, and she started going through the temperaments, and I can't remember if it was otters and deer and labs or disc or whatever, but it came down to that I was just this kind of spontaneous personality, because you had to do yourself first, and I was spontaneous, and details wasn't, a priority in my life, but I was a lot of fun and very empathetic, and I thought, I am such a good mom. I just thought, I'm such a good mom. I would love to have me for a mom. And my kids are so lucky. And then I did Rick and found out his personality, and he's that guy that I think it's a lab in that type. It's just loyal, steady, sure, just you can count on that guy as sure as the sun and the stars. And then Kristen, I knew she was more of a melancholy type personality. She's been lining up her little socks in her drawer since she was about 2.5 years old. And I pull it out and take the bucket in the basket and just dump it and kind of do that. So I knew that. So I got to Ricky, and I thought, it's Ricky's turn now. So I started to do Ricky Neal, and I was like, doesn't pay attention to detail, does not listen to authority, da-da-da. And I thought, he's 2.5 years old, and you tell him 3 things to do, and he can't remember them, and did all that, and you had to tabulate everything. Started to tabulate it, and it came down to sanguine personality, little control personality, sanguine. Who was he like? Just like his mom. Listen to me. It was the biggest aha moment. Really, it was one of the biggest aha moments of my life. And Donna Parteau, at that moment, she said, you know what? And it was a room this size. And she said, you know what? God doesn't give you your son so you could fix him. Shut up. But she didn't. She had to keep talking. She said, God gave you your son to make you more like Jesus. Now, here was my response. I'm just as much like Jesus as I care to be. So let's just fix him. But you know what? That is, there was this little part of me that just kind of rebelled up. But what happened, and I'm not lying, I'm not exaggerating, in that split second, my heart was softened for my son. And I cried. In fact, I was one of those moms. Some of you will come and go, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't apologize, because I was like the blubbering mess that year. I was sobbing. I'm not over-exaggerating. I sobbed because my heart in that second was softened for Ricky Neal. And I realized that part of our contention was because we're so much alike and we're butting heads. Some of you, the child that you're here for, the one that you have all those memories, all the things that you want to do different. Some of you, it's because you're so much alike. And the good part of that is that you see characteristics in him or her that have not worked to your benefit in life, right? And you're like, you know what? You don't want to be spazzy. Details are good. They're not evil, And you see that. And sometimes in our mothering, we just overcompensate and want to control. And it was. And then some of you, it is the other way. They're so different than you. Kristen is so different than me. Kristen, when things would go on at junior high, I couldn't say, Kristen, just, honey, don't worry about it. Just get over it. And I wasn't minimizing, but that's kind of how my world runs. I have a short-term memory. And if we don't get along or something happens, I pretty much get over it, and I don't mull over it and worry about it too much. But she's much deeper than that. In fact, her personality, the way it's described, is genius-prone. Don't ever tell your kids that. Don't ever tell your kids that. But we're so different. And even now, she's 18, and even now, just 2 weeks ago, had an aha moment that she's not even aware of, where I realized I've got to adjust the way that I am with her. So some of it's the way our children are. We love them. And some of you wonder, do I love my child? Yes, you're here. You would run in front of a Mack truck to save them. You see the pervert in the crowd, am I right? The guy that gives you the heebie-jeebies, and you get your kids away from them. I mean, you would. There's a fire. You would grab those children before anything else. You really would. You love your kids. This is not the issue. It's a matter of being able to identify this anger. It's a matter of being able to have strategies for change, that we have a home that's full of joy, laughter, peace, contentment, and instead of all this regret, we just have a place of settled delight in our children. Another thing about our kids is the things that they do. They tear up stuff. They break stuff. I was 4 when my mother adopted me. And this is my mom's idea. This is my mom's idea of a good visit. We could hardly tell you were here. It's just, nothing was broken. Nothing was messed up. And boy, that doesn't connotate with children, does it? And I wanted that. I wanted the neat house. And I wanted to be able to have my little figurines out. But they break your Fiesta ware plates. They get into your lipstick. They don't care if it's Chanel lipstick or if it's Revlon. They get in it and they smear it all over their face. Am I right? They just do things that are irritating. They do things that you're just like, what planet are you from? And they say things that you said that they're not supposed to repeat. Am I right? Oh my gosh. Scariest thing was to take my 2 sons when they were about 9 and 4 to the hairdresser to get their hair cut. I just wanted to put duct tape on their mouth because they're just chatting away and talking about what mom said and what mom did. And they can say things like, quit it, quit it, quit it, quit it, anyway, quit it. And you, blah. They can ask you, why does your bottom go like this? It's not that funny. They say things. They say things in their childishness. They say things when they get older to hurt you. And boy, do you feel like sometimes you're 14 again and you just want to, I know you are, so what am I? I know you are, so what am I? This is where we are. All right, real quickly, where does this lead us? I just want to address really quick where we get sometimes with this anger. We have all this stuff from our past. We have the real world. We have the children that, we've got all these little personalities and dynamics going on in our home. And if you're a single mom, you're taking on double the responsibility. You don't have someone to tag team with and to kind of carry the load. And what happens sometimes